Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome, Baltimore. Welcome, Baltimore. This is your host, Harry Gray from Changing Baltimore. Glad to be back. Glad to be back. Coach said will be joining us shortly. Another week. We've been away from you for a while. Again, I'm hoping everybody tunes in. That's Changing Baltimore supporters. I want to thank our team for getting us back here, getting us back together again, doing what we once loved and always will love and cherish. Our sponsors: Tone Drone LLC, Brainstream Media, Moe's Famous Seafood on Pulaski Highway, and Whole Body Health Care. Definitely want you guys to come visit Moe's Seafood, get that Changing Baltimore drink. I think it's a nice pick-me-up if you're here, just celebrating. If you're here, just want something smooth to go down, something a little fruity, that Changing Baltimore drink will definitely get you right. So again, tune in and come on out and support. The show is going to be a little, different today, as of right now, it's just myself. But we have no guests for tonight, but we're definitely going to have a great show coming up 2 weeks from tonight. So a lot has been going on since we've been on since last time we was on the air. College football has started. Pro football has started. High school football has started. So we're definitely going to, talk about some of those things, Baltimore, but we definitely want to get into the news of Baltimore. I know one of the biggest things that came out this week was the FBI investigation on Coach Lawrence Smith. So we're going to dig into that, try to get your viewpoints and, how do you feel about that? 410-417-7067. You can tune in, give your questions, comments, concerns, definitely for that. We also are in our third week of school. So, again, summer is over. Kids are back to school. If you're a teacher, assistant principal, vice principal, you name it, you can tune in and tell me, how's the school year going so far? Has the kids come in and they're ready to learn? Or are we at a point where we're just kind of picking up from the end of last year? So we're going to dab into that as well once we come out from break. But, again, want to hear from you, Baltimore. Definitely want to hear from you tonight so, we can really get this show on and popping. Again, we're going to test everything, man, test those waters. It's not a topic that we will not touch tonight. We're here from 7 to 8 p.m. So, tune in, man. Be interactive with, what we're doing. The question of today, and we're kind of going back a little bit to previous shows, but the question of today, as adults, are we doing what's best for kids? So when we say we're the best and we're looking out for kids, are we doing what's best for kids? Are we trying to curb the crime that's here in Baltimore, or are we just sitting and just going to complain? So we're going to get those topics out in the open tonight. So, again, you want to call in 410-417-7067, and we'll be back in 2 minutes to start our first segment. Thank you.
Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divides through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group.
Welcome back, Baltimore. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Harry Gray.
And your co-host, Coach Said.
He just walked through the door, but this is Changing Baltimore. Glad to have him. It was a little bit off that he wasn't sitting here. I wanted to ask some questions to open up, but I'm looking like I'm the only one here.
Man, freaking traffic, practice.
So how's everything going, man?
Good, man. Glad to be back. You know, a little hiatus, but we back. Fresh. Ready to go. Looking at my man right.
Yeah, we got these Monday blues, man. Everybody feels kind of, tired and sluggish, but man, we're gonna bring a little energy, to the show tonight. One of the first topics that we want to talk about. We're gonna talk a little high school football.
Okay.
We're gonna get to the other subject, but we're gonna talk high school football first.
Okay.
So, again, we are going into our third week of high school football. Just looking over and said, you can tell me how it is in the county and what you have observed. Mm-hmm. But, there's been a little surprises here in Baltimore City. One of the things happened week one where Reginald F. Lewis defeated Emerson High School. It was a lot to a little. Then looking at Emerson this past week, they definitely lost, again, last week to, I believe it was Carver, I believe. Lake Clifton, 16-8, man. So, I think they're in a rebuilding mode.
Yes.
Again, I think every 5 years, and you can stop me if I'm wrong, it seems like every 5 to 6 years, there's one of those popular schools, Dunbar, your Murrows, your Cities, your Polys, that's kind of been on top for a while, but then they tend to fall off a little bit, and they got to kind of rebuild. Kind of give me, your outlook on that.
Yeah, it's a lot of parity now. When at one point you only had one or two teams that was kind of successful in Baltimore at least, but it's coming around to where as though it's more parity, and you got Dante Jones over at Carver. He's doing a pretty good job over there. I mean, even though he's in his first year, but man, I watched them the other day. Man, they fly around. Man, they might not be as crisp yet, but God knows they fly around. And then, of course, Reginald Lewis with Coach Fats, Coach Emmanuel. He's doing a great job over there, man. And, they went out there and played Joppatown, and they stopped the game. But, it was a pretty good game up until, they kind of stopped it. But, you get teams that fall off, and then they'll pick it back up. Because the kids, you get that crop or that real good crop of kids that's real athletic, and then you might get a group of kids that might not be as athletics, and then you really got to coach, and then that's when sometimes your coaching is exposed, sometimes. So, but I'm glad though, man. I'm kind of glad it's a little bit more parity. It kind of makes it exciting for you to even go to the games, you know.
Yeah, I again, dealing with the old MSA, where week in, week out, there was a battle going on. So it was no cupcakes. You 1 week you can have Edmondson followed by Dunbar, followed by Lake, followed by Forest Park, and you're like, man, we don't get a breather on that schedule. In the last few years, it's been okay. We could kind of look at the schedule and say, well, this is a win, and this will be a tough game, but we should be able to pull it out. And then all of a sudden, there's maybe 1 or 2 games left. It's like, wait a minute, we can kind of run the table now if we win these games. And I know with it in that A conference, as they call it, it's been Dunbar, Murrow. Last year, it was actually a 3-way tie for second place. Dunbar won it all. They went undefeated. But you had City, you had Poly, and you had Murrow all in second place. So, with those teams, I think Poly is kind of more rebuilding than City and Murrow. Dunbar is still where they are. Right now, they were losing that first game of the season to Loyola, 21-0, and I think the game was stopped because of the activities outside of the game.
Right.
So I don't know if they're going to count that as a no contest. What I'm hearing is it's a no contest. So, the Poles kind of got away with that one. Yeah. And they were supposed to play Dunbar of D.C. This past week. So that game was 8-8.
Yep, I heard.
And then they stopped that game, I think because of the weather, maybe. But tell me how they doing, out there in Northeast, man. I see you guys kind of doing some things.
Yeah, we coaching them up. It's we played what's the name of the team? I forgot, but we won 34-14 against I forgot the team, but week before we beat Poly. That was a tough game. It was a nail biter, and so right now they on a high. They 2-0, just kind of clip their wings and keep them at bay, so to speak, so we can kind of get better, but we don't want to peak too early, But they doing pretty good though. But Anne Arundel County is pretty top heavy, when you're talking about Arundel, and then you got Chesapeake. So we ain't nowhere near them yet, but we getting there.
So just looking at some scores, I know the mighty St. Francis Panthers has not won a game yet, and I know they would definitely sit back and say, oh well, we're playing a national schedule, and I feel when you consider yourself a national power, you can't go 0-3.
Right.
So, no matter, really who you're playing, you still got to be able to kind of, step it up. And, from what I'm hearing, these games are really not even close. So do we contribute that to them not getting the kids the last 2 years that they should get to really, truly compete on a national level? Or is it coaching?
Well, no, I'm gonna give them a little bit more credit than that. I think they do a pretty good job. I heard that they got some guys hurt, some guys on IR. Like they said, 2 of the offensive linemen, 2 of the receivers, and then the quarterback 2 weeks ago. So when you in that league, man, you can't go down. You have to go with your guns. When the backups might not get it, you got to be full blaze going against these guys. That conference is brutal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And then not only the games, but you're dealing with catching the flights and reservations, hotel reservations, and all that kind of stuff. So,
but they, because they've been doing this for so long, this is something that they should be used to.
Yeah.
The travel and sitting in itinerary. of what you do, how you do it. I just honestly believe, man, and there's no knock on anybody, it's that, when you step up in competition, you got to be ready. You have to be ready.
And next man up, right?
Exactly. And we can't sit here and make excuses, because every team has injuries.
Yeah.
The Ravens, just looking at the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Ravens had 4 injuries. 2 came in the fourth quarter. So you got to be able to have that personnel step up. I know at Mervo we were without 6 starters this past week. 3 due to the fight that occurred week 1, and then we had a couple of injuries. Now coming into this week playing Emerson, the starting running back is out. So he has a shoulder separation. So it's like, hey, we got to go. Our best receiver, pray for him, our star receiver, Cameron Vines, he's done with, he has a little tear in his meniscus. So he's out for the year. So that means his high school career is over. So again, we got to, next man up. So again, speaking of Mervo, 2-0, defeated Bowie in a tough, contest, 26-20, week 1, and then we played a real physical, fundamentally sound Middletown team on Friday, and won the game 20-7. And I was telling somebody, if that was last year's team, we probably would have lost both of those games simply because of senior leadership and how they believed in their coaches and et cetera. With this group of kids, they're quiet, but they're confident. So in both games, I think we got scored on first. So for those guys to kind of react, it definitely meant a lot to the program. One of my surprise teams, man, is Forest Park. Forest Park is going to be a giddy program. They got some transfers from Emerson. They got a couple of transfers from some of the privates. And that physicality is what a lot of teams in Baltimore City honestly is scared of.
Yeah, man.
And you just mentioned Carver and Dante, Jones, where their kids are flying to the football. So if you can fly to the football and you physical, that's a lethal combination right there.
Yeah, because that's their forte over there with old coach Obi Bonds when he was there, man. They were awfully physical, man. So for them guys to be physical, they just going back to their roots. You know what I mean? So coaches, he got him over there playing. I just saw him a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I just saw Coach Julio at the Carver Chesapeake game a couple weeks ago, and it was good to see him. But he said they was rolling, man, and they was ready to roll.
So it's definitely big, man. So love to hear, love to see how other teams have stepped up. So we'd love to have Coach Julio on the show. All the Baltimore City coaches love to have you on the show very soon.
Yeah.
But again, man, football is here, man. But I can't believe we're going into week 3 already.
Yeah, man, we rolling, man. It's go by like a blink of an eye. And, you prepare and you prepare and you prepare. And then, boom, it's here. And then, you lose 1 or 2 games and you feel like all that stuff that you prepared for isn't working. It kind of makes you feel down, but you just gotta put the work in. It's an all year round sport really to get prepared and do your thing. So I wish everybody luck though, man.
Yeah. All right, viewers. Again, man, we're about to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with our second segment of this evening. Stay tuned. Stay with us. Again, please call in 417-7067. Your comments, concerns, questions, anything you want to get off your chest, definitely give us a call.
Hit us up.
We'll be right back.
Right back.
Okay, another truth misconception that I hear a lot is that I can take pain medications and pain medications will solve my problem. It'll cure me. I won't feel the pain. So that is true. I mean, pain medications are designed to decrease the messages to the brain so you don't feel them as strongly or not at all even. And that, that's actually going to fix my problem. And again, that's just another misconception. The problem is still there. And what we find with patients that take pain medication is over time, they actually have to take more and more and more. So you have to understand that pain is a signal. When you have a problem in your body, we were designed that to be alerted that there was an issue. And that's what pain is. It's an alarm. And when we don't address the actual problem that could be in our body, the body is desiring to live and it needs to be fixed. And so the pain increases, that signal gets stronger. I often have a great analogy. A house is on fire and it starts off real small and the neighbor sees it and they come and they start knocking on your door and they don't get any response from anybody inside, and then the fire starts to increase, right? So when you're not fixing the problem gets worse, just like this fire. And so the neighbor starts to really, really panic, and they start pounding harder, and harder. They may even find something they want to throw through the window, right, to get your attention. And so our body is the same way. Your body will send those signals, and over time, patients take more pain medication or a stronger dose or a stronger medicine. And so, heaven forbid it be something that could be addictive. And so that's what we want to help people avoid that situation. So getting to the root cause of the problem and actually fixing it is way more ideal than just covering up pain with medications. I want to thank everybody for watching the video today. And of course, for more information, you can reach us at wholebodyhealthcare.com, www.wholebodyhealthcare.com. Our office phone number is 410-662-4476. And the office address is 3914 Hickory Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21211. And you're always welcome to stop by, chat with our friendly front desk, and we can set you up for an appointment. As always, best of health. See you soon.
Welcome back, Baltimore. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm your host, Harry Gray.
I'm your co-host, Coach Ed.
And this is Changing Baltimore, brought to you by Tone Drone LLC.
Tone Drone.
Brainstream Media, Mo's Famous Seafood on Pulaski Highway, and Whole Body Healthcare. Whole Body will get your body right. So go there. Any injuries, ailments, arthritis, anything, man, check these people out. They are real, real good. All right, so, we was on the topic of high school football, and one of the most dominant teams in the area, in the state of Maryland, whether it's public or private, has been the Dunbar Poets.
Yep.
I believe they have 12 state championships, 2 in a row. They've been dominating. They have not lost a game in Baltimore City since 2019.
We beat them.
20. So it's been, it wasn't 20 because we was in COVID. So they haven't lost really a Baltimore City game since like 19. That's when, Merville beat them over at Morgan.
Okay, yeah.
So, again, they were trailing Loyola 21-0, but again, that's no contest. So if you guys been, watching the news or reading on social media, etc., you will see that a few months ago, the head coach, Lon Smith, was under investigation. Fox 45 put it out there. Anything that has to do with Baltimore City Public Schools in a negative light, Fox 45 is the first outlet to report something. You never hear anything positive, but the bottom line, as soon as they got some negative things going on, Oh, believe you me, that's just like that elderly grandfather or grandmother that sit on the porch and just report everything that you do. That's Fox 45.
Yeah.
And they're not going to put a good spin on it. They're going to put the negative on it. So again, they reported that Coach Smith had fabricated some documents, some overtime things that the FBI was investigating and things like that.
Yeah.
So for a while, it seemed like everything had cooled down. Everything was, I guess, okay in the public's eye because nobody talked about it. But this past week, Coach was arrested and I guess fingerprinted and all that good stuff.
Booked.
Booked. He was so he's out. But we definitely can discuss two things. Still coaching with that investigation going on. So let's first attack, what you think the effects of his team is going to be without him being there.
Well, I don't think it'll be that detrimental to the team. I mean, you got great coaches over there, Sean Nelson, you got Coach Mike and all them guys, man. I think they'll have the kids ready to go. It's just unfortunate, that the head coach can't be there due to the circumstances. But I think they'll be. They got a great coaching staff. They should be fine and continue to roll.
So right now, Coach C is the acting head coach. I remember a few years ago when Coach Smith was suspended for the hazing incident at Dunbar, and going out there looking at Dunbar, they weren't the team that you expect them to be.
Okay.
They were a little down. The talent was still there. It was just whether it's a motivational factor, whatever. But with Coach Smith not being there, that definitely played a part in how they prepared and what they did. During the course of the season, from game to game. So I think it's going to affect them a lot because now those underclassmen, they don't know if coach is coming back. So that some of them may have went to Dunbar because of coach or because of Coach Ty. Those seniors saying, man, you know what? I done spent all these years with coach, and now he's not there to tell me this, this, and this. So I think it's strongly going to, really affect the team. Not saying they're going to get out there and lose a bunch of games, but what is going to happen when that game is tight, fourth quarter game is tight. Yes, you have a good coaching staff, but when you don't have the head there that the kids believe in and trust, it makes a world of a difference.
I agree. I don't know the dynamics and, what kind of coach, he is, but that would speak to me in reference to how his team would react, in his absence. So I just don't know now, from what I know, he's a traditional head coach. Like, he has an OC, he has a DC, so he's just really like a manager of his program. Now, I mean, if Coach C can kind of fill that void, and be that type of manager, and if he has that kind of longevity there to where as though the kids kind of take to him as such they do Coach Smith, then they should be fine. But again, I agree with you. What's the kid's demeanor in his absence, or during his absence? Because I don't know if he's going to come back or not. I really don't know. But hopefully they'll be fine. But we'll see.
Yeah, 410-417-7067. Tune in if you want to discuss this topic. Also, our Cash App page is the $ Change in Baltimore. So you want to contribute to the show, just go ahead and drop a few dollars in Cash App for us. Is much, much, much appreciated. even though Coach Lawrence may not coach a position, it's just his presence.
I agree with you.
His presence being there, telling the kid, right from wrong. But it's also relationships. A lot of those kids may have a stronger relationship with coach than they do any other coach. Hey, I got a, my relationship is with Coach Smith, but Coach Sean is okay. I can talk to him, but the one that calms me down, the ones that does the things for me, is Coach Smith, and he's not there.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
And so that led to, again, that first game of the season playing Loyola, where they were down 21-0, and then they had a shooting outside of the stadium, which cost the life of a youth. And it goes back to, the question of the day is, as grown-ups, as adults, are we truly helping our kids? And I could give you an incident today where I'm just sitting and I'm not in on the meeting, but the meeting is happening in the room that I'm in. And a young man, is about to fight and about to get suspended. The mother said, well, bottom line is, I tell my kids to fight. They're in school, they can fight. If somebody comes up to them wrong, go ahead, punch them in the mouth. Because I came here from work, and I was ready to get it on with a parent. It's like, and I'm sitting there like, whoa. So how is that adult really truly helping her son with that type of attitude? Because she was ready to fight another parent. And these kids also get in a position where, well, my mom told me or my dad told me I can do this, and this, which supersedes anything that teachers or the principal has in store.
Well, you're dealing with emotional instead of, rationale. And most times and none, this culture, man, and this generation, they emotional, man, and they don't really think with a lot of rationale. So you get that. Well, the kids fighting, and then the parents want to come up to school and then fight. It's a microcosm of being in this environment, so to speak, man. I don't understand, but them old school values that we grew up on, they just seem like they just gone by the wayside. The things that we were taught when our grandparents and then but now you, like I said on the show before, you got all these pressing issues that these parents have on the table. Like they got to go to work, and the kids are basically raising themselves, and the streets are raising them, and the 2-parent households are no more in existence. So it's so loaded, man. So
we discussed this many times before. It is very, very important, and I know this phone should be ringing off the hook when I say this. We should be getting a bunch of comments in the inbox about this. It's very, very important that a positive male is in those kids' lives as they're growing up. When you take the father, when you take the dad away from his kids, or you don't hold that male responsible for doing his duty, for bringing that child into this world, that child is kind of lost.
Yeah.
And it's no matter how good the mom is, who's going to take care of mom when she's struggling, with health issues? When she gets to that point where she goes in her room, shuts the door, and she's on the side of that bed crying because she can't take it anymore. She's at her ends, her ends wits. Who's going to be there to say, I got you? I got you. Nobody. So now she gets to a point where she says, I've done all of this. I've done what I could do. I don't care what he or she goes out and does right now. So, no, I'm not going to set a curfew for him or her to come in the house. So if they're getting in 3 in the morning on a school night, guess what? Oh, well, you're in the house. I don't know what you don't know what you're doing. But we can't continue to do that. And that's why I say, the male, as long as the male is positive, needs to be in the kids' lives, because I think one of the reasons why a lot of these kids go to gangs, a lot of these kids do what they do, and, they do it because they are searching for that male love.
Yeah, it's a balance, and it's like the yin and the yang. When you got that mother and father in the household, because most women kind of think emotionally when most men think of rationale. You kind of like gel those two together. It makes the kid whole, and we just don't have that anymore. It's no wholeness. It's like one-sided. So if you got a kid that's being raised by an emotional mom, a boy, then he's going to be emotional. You know what I'm saying? So, and then if you get a kid raised by a dad that's rational all the time, he's not going to have any emotion. You know what I mean? Introverted, so to speak. So, it's so loaded, man, that, what do we do? What do we do?
And again, the final, word for this segment, and we all know I have 3 daughters. I've been divorced for a minute now, 13 years and counting. One of the things that was consistent, even with me and my daughter's mom fussing, arguing, I stayed in their lives. And I think it's more important because they can tell their mom everything, but true dads can look at them, give them the love that should be coming from a male. I think my daughters turned out all right, but again, they know I've never said nothing derogatory about their mom. I never blamed their mom. I gave her the praise of being the mother that she is to them. The wife, I don't know. But being the mother which counts, I wouldn't want any other mother to raise those 3 kids. So we definitely got to be there in all aspects. So males, if you're listening, get back some way, somehow in your kid's life. We'll be back. We'll be back in 1 minute to start our 3rd segment. Peace.
This is our Back on Track unit. It is a fully automated axial and bilateral spine decompressor. Over time, the spine can wear out, causing pain and discomfort. It decompresses the spine with limited straps, which allow more movement and a better stretch within the spine. Through this movement, pressure is relieved from between the discs. It functions by stretching the spine. This movement relieves scar tissue and allows the spine's natural fluid to lubricate itself. This unit comes with 21 different settings to choose from, including a heat and vibration setting that can be added in order to enhance the treatment. Our staff is trained to operate this treatment on a needed basis. If you or someone you know may benefit from the Back on Track unit, call us today to schedule your appointment.
Welcome back, Baltimore. Welcome back. I'm your host, Harry Gray.
And your co-host, Coach Sam.
Brought to you by Tone Drone LLC, Brainstream Media, Mo's Famous Seafood, and Whole Body Health Care. Please give us some calls, man. 410-417-7067. Calls, comments, concerns, questions that we have. Again, with yep. So again, this week was the week 1 of the NFL, and talking about the Ravens, what was your perspective on the Ravens? Said,
man, defense, man. I was like, wow, they flew around. Man, that kid Roquan Smith, man, he is that. Man, I say, God, dog. And Patrick Queen just plays so well off of him. Man, they just, like they fly around. And Clowney, man, he impressed me. He looked like he was a little winded, tired first game. But he impressed me, man. Clowney looked pretty good. I just don't have no idea of what they trying to do with 99. I don't know what are they trying to do with 99. I just don't understand, man. And then this pass-happy league, they just make these defensive linemen look so good. You get this defensive end that look like a daggone tailback, and you ain't running GT counter at this guy. You ain't trapping this guy, man. You supposed to eat this dude. You know what I mean? I don't understand, but it's a pass-happy league, so they just pin their ears back and just go get the quarterback. I just don't get it. But the Ravens, man, they fly around. Offensively, they got work out some kinks. But all in all, my grade, I give them a 7.
I strongly believe, man, that the defense did very, very well. We talk about the Ravens not having cornerbacks, but the one way to help your corners is to put pressure on the quarterback. And I think they did a lot of that yesterday. So you really couldn't see whether or not our corners can stand up to some of the top-notch receiving core in the NFL. I think the injury to Marcus Williams, the safety, is going to hurt. But I think the biggest blow, and everybody's talking about J.K. Dobbins, I don't think that's the biggest blow. The biggest blow is your center, Linderbaum, who's out, may be out multiple games, and Stanley, who may be out multiple games.
So what was the prognosis with Linderbaum?
Sprained ankle.
Okay.
So, give or take a week, they don't think he's going to play this week. And with Stanley, it's a sprained knee. So it doesn't think, he's going to play this week. But, again, those reports are pretty good. You don't want an MCL, ACL, broken ankle, where it's like, hey, we're going to be out considerable time. Now you're looking at roughly, a couple of weeks. I just think in this offense, to me, the offense looked the same for the most part to me as it has the last couple of years. I think one thing that I did like, they were throwing the screens to Flowers. But I think with Flowers getting as much targets as he had this week, I think it's really going to, I say Beckham is going to, make him say, hey, I want the ball as well.
Well, his safety net definitely wasn't there in Mark Andrews. So I think he really missed him underneath, sitting in them zones and all that kind of stuff. So I think he really missed him. And then I think they kind of like Bateman kind of like take on that role, and he didn't do bad. But I mean, you just that big target in Andrews, you can't miss that,
Yeah, it's just I don't think, and I was listening today to a show, they really didn't attack the fields with their tight ends like they normally do. I think Likely only had one catch all games. So, it kind of hurts. I think that read option that they, had going the last few years, it helps Lamar. So when Lamar tries to be a passer, I think he really truly hurts the Ravens because he's sitting there. His best attribute is him running with his legs. So I didn't see a lot of waggle. I didn't see him kind of, sprint outs. I think he was holding the ball a little long. So again, it's like, hey, let Lamar be Lamar, which means Lamar, we have design runs for you. Lamar, yeah, get out the pocket, get here. He becomes a dual threat when he uses his legs, get out the pocket, because now it's like if he decides to run this ball, he could pick up 30 yards or take it to the house. Mm-hmm. If he throws it, he could pick up 30 yards or he could go to the house. Mm-hmm. So as a DB, you got to think, should I come up to make this tackle on Lamar, or should I keep drifting because he's about to throw this thing? Him just, sitting there in the pocket hurts. As far as that D-line, again, the pressure, I saw some pressure. I think they kind of shut the run down. I think Roquan and Queen is definitely probably the top 5 in the middle linebacker core in the NFL.
I agree. I agree. But I definitely think the run game is not as like Greg Roman. I just don't think that they tote the ball but that's his forte though. That's his thing. Coach Roman loves to tote that thing. So it's just a little different. But like we say, they just transitioning into another offensive phase. And it's going to take some time, man. It's not going to, they got to gel. And then that offensive line they road graders. So now you're asking them to be more finesse than physical. That's going to take some time, So, we'll have to see.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Again, 410-417-7067. Call in. Just give us your expectations of the Ravens, what you think about the game and for the rest of the year. But I think the biggest news, sports news, is 2 big ones. I'll give this one a 1A. Of course, is Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes going 2-0, going out there beating Nebraska. My take is I just think they were more athletic than Nebraska. Nebraska is not good. They're not good. I don't think week 1 was an okay opponent, but the schedule now gets thick. Where this week they have Oregon, followed by USC. So it's like, okay, Mr. Sanders, let's see, you jump around. Let's see what you can do against those teams.
Yeah, it's gonna get thick, man. It's getting thick. It's getting thick.
But I will say this: they're gonna put the ball in the air anywhere between 35 to 45 times a game, and his son is giving it to him. I think this week, if he could go out there and do what he did the last 2 weeks, I think they need to start putting him in the Heisman consideration.
Yeah, well, they said he was in there, him and Travis Hunter, but they said that Shedeur was definitely in the Heisman, race right now. But then again, Oregon, man, it gets a little thick now. We're gonna see where you at this week coming, and then next week. So they got 2 toughies coming up. Defensively, I watched the first game, and defensively, I just thought they was all over the place. Thought the backers wasn't. I seen the backers run into each other one time. They got a lot of work to do, but I was listening to talk radio, and one dude said what everybody else ain't saying is that the coaching staff that he has, man, is like top notch. He has some of the best coaches in the world on his staff. He also has what's the coach name that used to coach the Vikings? He's on the staff. I forget his name. The old ex defensive coordinator / head coach. He's on his staff, and he got some great coaches on his staff, man. The guy from Kent, I think it's from Kent State, the offensive coordinator. That's pretty good. So has some great coaches on that staff. So, you know, and he's a traditional head coach, prime. You know what I mean? Just a motivator, manager. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And shout out to Morgan State, the Morgan State Bears. Week 1 they defeated Richmond, who's ranked in the top 20 in the FCS. And they just lost by 1 point to Akron this past 1 point. They did have a lead. So again, you know, that was you know, great. You know, Coach Wilson is doing a good job there. But I said, you know, Dion was 1A for this week. I will say 1B has to be Coco Golf, who went out there and won the U.S. Open at 19 years old. The youngest since Serena won it, you know, Grand Slam. So definitely a shout out to her as well. So, you know, we have a lot of things going on. But we're about to take our last commercial break for the night's show. We'll be right back in 1 minute. Thank
Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divide through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group.
Welcome back, Baltimore. This is our last segment of tonight. I'm your host, Harry Gray.
And your co-host, Coach said.
That you got that in your ear now. Welcome back.
Man.
I guess that'll be our intro. So we had some comments on our Facebook page. Clarence Kinney, YouTube. Clarence Kinney pretty much, man, said, hey, you know, we are too dependent on our government, so we need to make some drastic changes. And, you know, I agree. You know, it starts in your house. We can't have the government. We can't have the police. We can't have school teachers, you know, trying to raise your kid. You got to raise your kid on your own. And if you don't know how to raise your kid, you got to ask for some type of help. And I'm not talking about, you know, monetary help. I'm talking about dealing with mental health, taking parenting classes, really going and discussing, hey, this is things that I'm weak in. One of the things that we as African Americans fear, one, we hate going to the doctors. Two, we hate going to psychologists. And three, we hate when you tell us we're wrong. We hate that. So, you know, you can't go and say, man, you're not raising your kids the right way, because they're running amok in Baltimore City. And the first thing that come out their mouth, what you mean? What do you mean? Get the, that's what we get. And then we make excuses again. Being in the school system, watching parents come up, they will come up to the school, and the first thing they doing is yelling, fussing, and cussing. And they don't even know, what's going on. But the first thing they will do, who is that B? Where's she at or where he at? Because I'm getting on. And I think sometimes they do it, honestly, because they're not educated. They know once you sit down with an educated person and they start to talk the jargon, you're going to be lost in translation. So it's almost like, okay, I'm going to control this situation. So let me act crazy first, and then bring them down to my level, and then I kind of get what I want. But I'm going to defend my child whether they're wrong or not. Have you witnessed or experienced some of those things where you are, Coach?
Yeah, man. Again, like I said before, it's all these pressing issues that is not allowing us to really raise our kids, man. And it's amazing how we on social media talking about what we got on, and I'm telling you, 85-90% of them people talking about what they wearing to the club. I'm telling you, their kids out here carjacking people in these Kias and all that. So you talking about your outfit, you need to be watching your kids and make sure you be nosy and see what's going on in their phones. There's ain't nowhere in the world, man, these kids out here doing this. I'll tell you what, they're going to carjack the right one. Yeah, so, but again, the pressing issues is causing us not to raise our kids, man.
Again, when you have kids at an early age, and a lot of people may disagree with me, but when you have kids at an early age, you still want to get out there and party. You feel for 9 months, first year and a half, 2 years, you spend your time babysitting.
Yep.
So then when they get to a certain age, you like, oh, girl, I'm only 30, 32, 33 years old. I'm going to still party. My son or my daughter's 15. They do what they do, how they go. I'm not going to hold them in the house, hold them hostage. No, you're not. You're parenting.
Yep.
You have to know where they are, what they're doing, who they're hanging around with.
I agree.
But you have to have it. You can't say, I'm going to drop them off at my mom's house and I'm going to go party. You're doing that through their childhood. So,
but also, Mr. Kenny asks, when are we on? So it's every other Monday, Mr. Kenny. Every other Monday. So not next week, but the week after.
Yep.
So
7 p.m.
Tune in, Mr. Kenny.
Thank you for your comments. Last but not least, man, this is September 11th, 2023.
Oh, man.
22 years ago today, it was an attack. Can you tell everybody where you were at that time, man?
Man, I was home chilling, and I was watching TV, and once I saw the plane hit the tower, I said, man, I'm like, this is, I knew right off the break. I said, that wasn't a mistake. Like, we been attacked, man. Like, and then the second one, and at the time, my oldest son, he was young, so I had to go up to school. He was going to Johnson Square Elementary School. I said, man, let me go get my son from out of school. And I just stayed glued to the TV all day. I would just happen to be off. I was working in corrections then at the Maryland House of Corrections, and I was just happened to be home that day, so I just tuned in, and I was in amazement, man. It was crazy. It was crazy, man.
I was at school at the time, and heard someone say, man, they ran a plane into, Twin Towers, and it was like, oh. My reaction at that time was like, oh, okay. And then they started saying, hey, we about to get out of school early. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But when I got home, that's when I kind of like, wait a minute, this is real serious, real serious.
Yeah.
And again, you know, we're supposed to be the most powerful entity out there. We're the United States.
Big
we're not
bad
used to
America.
that. So it was more like, okay, how are we going to respond? That's like punching the bully in the mouth at school. Like, you're not supposed to hit the bully. So, and that's what happened, man. But, you know, again, we'll never forget 9/11 because we lost a lot of people, and a lot of people was affected by 9/11.
Yeah.
One of the things, man, I've done, you know, I do lift. One of the things that I do, you know, I'll get rides here and there. And lately I've been going to Arlington Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia. And even though I'm dropping the rides off, you can see some things about 9/11. You know, you can see some things 9/11, but to look at that, to see, it's now become a tourist site.
Yeah.
You don't even think of it as a cemetery anymore. You just, man, this is a tourist site. And the people that I had, that's what they were doing. They were just touring. And I do have a friend. His name is Neil Prince, who's buried in Arlington Cemetery. He was killed in Desert Storm. Him and his buddy was from Denver. Their Humvee was blown up. They rolled over one of the landmines, and, you know, he was killed. You know, we the Up North crew, we definitely miss him. He's actually a City grad as well. Played baseball for City. I don't know why he didn't play football, but, you know, to hear that news, you know, that he had died, and they had a funeral, but again, it was not a funeral, it was closed casket.
Right. Yeah.
But again, man, shout out to everybody that has served, that is serving, that had a part to play in 9/11. You know, from Changing Baltimore, we thank you for your service. We thank you for everything that you've done for America, for us.
Yeah.
Until we meet again, Baltimore, I'm your host, Harry Gray.
And your co-host, Coach Said.
We are Changing Baltimore, and we'll see you September 25th. It'll be my birthday. So, peace.
Peace.